So hello and welcome to Ewe Sew You. My name's Zoe and this is my channel all about the crafty bits and pieces I get up to. I knit, I sew, I spin on a drop spindle, I dabble in weaving from time to time, and anything else that takes my crafty fancy. But today we're talking about the things I've been working on in March, so grab a brew, put your feet up and let's get started. So welcome back to any returning viewers and to any new viewers, a very warm welcome to you. As I mentioned at the opening to the video, we're looking at the things I've been working on during March today. So before we dive into that, let's get started with what I am wearing. This is my longline cardi, which was a February finish. It's in 100% merino yarn that I dyed myself, and it's a pattern by Hoagie Locatelli. It's getting a lot of wear. It's really easy to just sling it on over everything. I wear it to work, I wear it around the house. So yeah, really pleased with this one. Might possibly at some point knit another one in a different colour, but that would be quite a long way down the road. It's a great knit for people who knit and read because it's mostly stocking stitch. There is a 1x1 rib border all the way around, but that's fairly straightforward. And once you're past the separation for the sleeves, there's not much in the way of shaping. There is some way shaping in there. I might omit that if I make it again because the size I've gone for, it's not making a huge amount of difference to the garment because I've gone for nice and loose and baggy around the body, and because I'm short-waisted as well, so the waist shaping isn't quite sitting, when you do it in line with the pattern, it isn't quite sitting in line with my actual waist is, so I don't think it's actually giving the effect that it was designed to do because of my body shape and the decisions I've made making this. So yeah, so I may make another one in another colour at some point in the future. And read another ton of books while to do it. But for now, this one's doing the job. So that's what I'm wearing. And do I have any finished objects? Sort of. That's it. This is the only project I have totally completed this month. It's been a busy month. This did, to be fair, take quite a while. This is a French beaded flower. It's meant to be red clover. And yeah, it was pretty fiddly, so it took hours. I can't remember if I did it in one day or over two, but yeah, it took me a while, that one. What I did was I bought a couple of kits from Etsy, and the first one that I bought was this red clover kit. Oh, just knocking my Lego. That's not good. There we go. So this is the first kit from Beadology, and just a single clover included. So I made that up, just made it mostly because I wanted to have a go at French beading. I stumbled across it and thought, yeah, that looks interesting. Yeah, it took me a while. Quite pleased with the result for that one. And this is the second kit that I bought, which is one of my works in progress. So we'll move into that section straight away. So I am currently working on this vase full of French beaded flowers. So these are daisies. I've got one more daisy to do in white and then some white lavender stems to do. And these are obviously just foliage that came with it. Everything you see here, plus the beads for the other flowers, came in the kit. So yeah, it's a nice complete kit. You do get everything. I'll probably add the clover into this as well when I'm done. So French beading is, as far as I'm aware, just used for flowers. I haven't seen it used for anything else. Essentially, you're threading beads onto a wire and shaping the wire into flowers, which sounds pretty simple. And yeah, it is kind of simple, but if you look closely at my flowers, you'll see that there's a fair bit of wire showing through where there shouldn't be, a fair bit of messiness. So there is a knack to it. It does take a bit of practice to get it neat and tidy. But I don't have to remember to water these. So that's a win. I will probably make more. I do have a book on French beading that I bought when I ordered the kits with more complicated patterns in roses and all sorts of things, but the basic principle is the same. You're stringing beads onto wire and shaping them into flowers. So yeah, it's a nice kind of low thought project because you're following the instructions and it's string beads, bend wire. It doesn't take a lot of how do I form that particular stitch kind of thinking, which way round do my fabrics need to go kind of thinking. It is just follow the instructions and bend the wire to the right shape. Yeah, so I'm enjoying that. We'll do more of it. We'll hopefully have those finished at some point in April, so they can be added to my spring decor. Although to be fair, I will probably leave them out all year round along with my Lego orchid that I got for Christmas. So that is my first work in progress, my first finished object. I suppose you could class each of the daisies as finished objects if you really wanted to, but because it's a project, I'm classing it as work in progress. So let's move on to another craft, one that I've been doing for quite some time. This is one of my gateways into the world of crafting. I grew up in a household where my mum was always knitting or sewing or cross-stitching or embroidering or something like that. I learnt to knit very early on. Didn't actually make anything usable until teens, adulthood, but I learnt to knit when I was like 5, and I would knit the same pattern over and over again. So I'd knit it, rip it out, knit it, rip it out. So yeah, I wasn't so worried about the finished object, although I did attempt to make a Cindy doll a scarf when I was about 6 or 7, possibly even younger, and it was so lumpy bumpy, my mum turned it into a beanie for my Cindy instead. So that was my first ever knitted thing that could actually be used something. So I got into cross-stitching quite early on because I could actually complete a thing and have something that looked like I wanted it to look and fitted like I wanted it to fit, with sewing and embroidery and cross-stitch and that sort of stuff. So cross-stitch was something we picked up quite early on. I could also easily find small kits that were appealing to me as a child. So I've delved back into cross-stitch with some small projects. I do obviously have a couple of larger cross-stitch projects on the go, one of which has been on the go for years. The other one started before Christmas. I have not finished them. They will not be finished for a while because new things, shiny objects. So thinking spring, thinking decor, I'm working on a little set of spring flower cross stitches. So I've done the cross stitch on this one, and I've started a second cross stitch. So I've got the leaves coming in here and the stems ready to have their flowers put on the top. And there's going to be a little bit of rustling when I pick up the kit, because this is a kit. It is an anchor kit for some little hanging decorations. So I've done this cross stitch, I'm working on this cross stitch, this one I haven't started yet, and they're going to be made into padded hanging things to go on my white tree in the background, my second tree from Christmas, that I'm going to leave up all year round. So I figured I'd best get some spring and summer decorations organised for it. So we'll get spring done. Summer we might have to wait for another year, and we'll hopefully get some autumn ones done later in the year. Summer ones because I'm busy this summer. I'm going away. I'm getting married, so I'm not going to be here for a lot of the summer, as in spending much time in the house. So yeah, that's the plan for those. It's a nice simple project. It's not complicated. I can, if I put my mind to it, I can get one of those little motifs done in 1 or 2 sessions. So that's not too bad. I don't think padding it's going to be too much of a challenge. There is a braid and a tassel and things to make, so I need to obviously check the instructions on how they want you to do that. But yeah, enjoying that, nice and simple, not too much thinking, unless, like me, you pick the wrong colour to start the leaves with, and do all the leaves, have to pick that and start again. Which is why the one I'm working on at the moment isn't finished, because I had to start over. So yeah, so that's cross stitch, that's French beading. The big work in progress that's been going on this month and last month, there is a series of videos for. I am working on a dress to take on honeymoon with me. It's going to be an bottle green for sort of below the knee, heading for midi length, dress with a slit up it and flutter sleeves. It's got lace on it, it's got a metallic organza on it. I've been working really hard on trying to get the fit how I'd like it. We're close, we're not perfect, but that's okay. It's not fitting a perfect body because no such thing. So in this box I have my final fabrics, my bits and pieces for that project. So I've cut out the lining. I need to cut out the outer fabrics now. So that's this afternoon's job. So that's that work in progress. And there will be another video finishing up the dress, and there will be a Minerva post on it because the lace that I'm using is from the Minerva and Ambassador program. So in a week or two, those will be out. I'm hoping to get that finished, or at least to the point where it can hang ready for hemming by the end of the weekend. It's Easter weekend this weekend. I am filming on Good Friday. So hopefully by the end of Easter Sunday, Easter Monday, the dress will be sewn together, hanging up so that the skirt can drop if it wants to, because the skirt is cut on the bias. And then I can hem it next week and get the final video out for you next weekend, hopefully, and that Minerva post up. Because I've got other sewing projects to move on to that I really need to start turning my attention to for the next quarter, but more on that later. So moving swiftly on to knitting works in progress. And we've got a few. I'm not one to work on just the one project at a time. So let's start with my replacement for this project, my Knit While Reading project. And that is this Holstgarn Coast, so wool and cotton blend, version of the Tolster Tea by Rebecca Craybear. So I have had to modify the rate of increase on the raglans for this, simply because my gauge did not match the pattern and I liked the fabric I was getting. So I've adjusted the rate of increase to one that should work fine for me. So it's a little bit hard to tell until you're a little bit further down the body and can try the thing on, but it should be fine. And yeah, I've separated for the sleeves and I'm starting to work down the body. So this is mostly stocking stitch. I have added in a slip stitch detail at the colour changes, and yeah, I'm doing stripes because I don't have enough of one colour to do the whole thing. So yeah, I'm pleased with that. It's turning out nicely. This is going to be nice summer wear. A few more books and it should be done. Stocking stitch is great for reading with, and because it's in the round as well, it's good. I've got my string of stitch markers to count the rows in my stripes, so I know when to change colour. So yeah, that's going rather well. I don't need to think until I get to the colour change row, and then I need to work out where to place the first slip stitch, and then it just flows from there. Because I'm staggering the slip stitches from one stripe to the next, so they're not all in a column, more sort of like a brick structure. But it just has that little bit of interest to what would otherwise be a very simple plain striped t-shirt. So that's that work in progress. Let's move on to the Bereket, which I am knitting as part of a knit along hosted by Tobop, my friend Patricia, and the designer, whose name is Ina, and she has recently changed her social media handle. She used to be Mama's Teddy Bear. She is now Tokutigu. I think it's Tokutigu and not Togutiku. I will put it on the screen. It's one of the two. And I may not be pronouncing it correctly. I haven't spoken to her since she rebranded. So the Bereket sweater is a cuff-to-cuff construction, and it is a dolman sleeve, so batwing sweater. And I have modified the length of the sleeve, but that is the only change that I have made so far. So yeah, thicker cuff and longer sleeve before the main batwing swoop. So yeah, it's coming along. I am about halfway through the left shoulder portion, and then I will be referring to my notes on this sleeve to mirror it on the other side. And after that, it is just a question of waistband ribbing, neckline ribbing. So I will block it and try it on at that point to work out how deep a hem I want to knit. It is a crop sweater, so I won't want to add too much, but I just want to make sure it sits where I'm happy. I may do the same depth of ribbing as I've done on the cuff for balance. At the hem, the neckband is likely to be at least half that thickness, I would have thought. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this one. It's a fun knit, it's quite a quick knit, but I'm taking it slowly because it's a long knit along, and there are Zoom meetings each month for people who are participating to meet up and catch up and knit along. So a lot of us have taken the decision to slow down the pace that we knit on these sweaters to make sure it lasts the length of or close to the length of the knit along. But yeah, it is an enjoyable knit. These bobbles are a lot of fun. Caterpillar parades, they're getting referred to as by those of us in the group. So yeah, it's a thick band of texture over each shoulder, and we've been looking at knitting backwards, or mirror knitting, is it? Knitting backwards to work the bobbles so that we don't have to keep turning our sweaters around in order to achieve that. And I did a little while ago do a video demonstrating how I am personally achieving that, so I will try and remember to link that up in the eye, which I think is that side. So yeah, so that's fun. Looking forward to having that completed. The knit along finishes before I go away on honeymoon, so this will probably be coming with me because we're going into the North Atlantic for honeymoon, so I'm expecting there to be some chillier evenings. But, yeah, so that's that work in progress. My final work in progress to show you before we dive into what I am planning for the next few months is the Barragan, it's like a stole wide scarf project. This is from the Knitter magazine. I believe it was issue 194 that it started in, and they published it as a knit along, so they published it in 4 parts. I have now completed part 1. The yarn is by Macintosh. It's a hand dyed BFL. It comes in 150 gram hanks, and it was a kit that came with the subscription to the magazine, and to be fair is largely why I subscribed to the magazine. So I've done the first section, which is this chatelaine lace. This colourway is either my Joy or my Serenity. I suspect this is my Joy and that this is my Serenity, but they didn't label the colour names separately on the yarn. So I am guessing, but my gut feeling is that this is a calmer colour, so this would be Serenity. This is a brighter, more cheerful colour. So this would be my Joy. But like I say, I am guessing. So yes, I have got into the second section. I've just started that a few rows in, so I am now working in the second colour. So yeah, I'm hoping that that second section will be quicker to knit. It's a mesh panel, so there's only it's a smaller chart to be working. It doesn't sort of change every row for 48 rows, which is something like that for this one. Every right side row was different pretty much for this, certainly for the halfway point, and then mirrored on the way back. So this one I really did have to pay attention to. It wasn't really one for knitting in the evenings very much, although I did finish the last 16 rows of it and start the next section last night. So yeah, so I'm hoping this section's going to be quicker to work on. By the time it's done, it will be obviously blocked, so it'll be wider and possibly longer because lace opens up, mesh opens up, and it will have a border on it in this colourway as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how this one turns out. It should block really nicely. I mean, look at those diamonds. Isn't that lovely? So yeah, enjoying this. The whole pattern is now out. Awful Parts were released a little while ago. I am not up to date with where I would be if it was my only project, but I mean, that's not a surprise. I do lots of things, and when it's late, you're going to take time over it. So yeah, so I am enjoying that project. And yeah, that's all I've been working on in March. I haven't put a single stitch on my socks. Really should, but I haven't. I haven't done any crochet. I haven't done anything else. I've literally just worked on these projects. And I think that's going to be a similar theme for the next few months, because if we think about what I'm planning for the next quarter, and had to take a look at the goals that I had for this quarter. Obviously, planning a wedding takes a bit of time, so I'm going off to bright wedding dress fittings and cake tastings and meetings at the venue and all of that kind of stuff. Most of it is done now, but I do have some things left to organise. So I've got bridesmaids dresses to sort out. I'm going to be making those, so that's going to be a priority over the next couple of months. But obviously I'm not going to share those until after the wedding. So that does mean that what I've been working on in April, May and June videos probably won't have much in the way of sewing in. If I manage to get a palette cleanser project in, also one of the things that I've got cut out already, like my 12s for bras, or a pair of trousers that I had cut out for ages. If I manage to get those sewn up, I'll obviously share them with you, but I'm not holding my breath on that. My priority is wedding stuff. As you know, it should be. There's a deadline on that. So that's going to be the big sewing project. There's 3 of them to do. So you probably, as I say, won't see much sewing. I'm going to be doing that mostly during the days when I'm not working. Easter holidays, I've got a couple of weeks, so I should hopefully be able to get the patterns organised at the very least, and hopefully fabrics ordered and washed before I'm back at work. So that'll be good. But obviously evenings and when I'm not in the sewing room, because I can't sew constantly, would drive me bonkers. Just because my room is so tiny and chaotic, I do a bit and then I have to leave the room for a while. So there will be knitting, there will be other bits and pieces being done. I'll be getting the cross stitch finished and sorted out. Plans wise, in terms of the goals that I had at the beginning of the year, I had intended to get a handle on the craft room, get that organised and sorted out. I started. I did a couple of hours once. Then I started working on the honeymoon dress, and I'm having to prioritise things. I've got deadlines. It's just the way life works. So it's probably going to be a little while before the craft room is fully sorted. I am still hoping to get in there in the next couple of weeks and do a bit more sorting. But yeah, it might get pushed back again. You never know. Alongside that, I was also planning on getting a handle on all my works in progress, or my existing, languishing, dormant whips. I don't think I've touched a single one of them at all in 3 months, and probably longer because they're dormant whips. I still have those 2 goals: to get my craft room sorted and to get a handle on my works in progress. Just sort of get rid of the overwhelm a bit, but I keep doing shiny object syndrome, or thinking of things to do for the wedding. So that is a little bit all-encompassing at the moment. And I do have other projects that I want to start that aren't already on my needles. I've got another garment to knit and read once I finish the Tolster. So yes, I mean, I'm not just plucking things out of the air. I am picking things that I do want the thing. Some of the works in progress will need to be let go, most likely. I've already had to let one go because I didn't have enough yarn for the size that I was knitting, and the size that I was knitting is no longer my size. So that got frogged. I salvaged the yarn. It will be a different project at a later date. And it is what it is. It'd be nice to have a nicely organised craft room whilst I'm doing wedding makes, but realistically it's not going to happen just because of the time that I have available to me at the moment. And you know what? That is fine. it will still all be there, ready and waiting for me to sort out when I come back from honeymoon in August. So yeah, not too bothered by that, to be fair. I think I've got past the sense of overwhelm that I had at the beginning of the year with it. Mostly because I haven't been thinking about it. I've been prioritising other things that have a purpose this year. So thinking about shiny object syndrome and things that are distracting me from sorting out the craft room, you will have seen last week the video that I did selecting a few randomly picked, random number generated projects to work on from Ravelry, and I asked you guys to help me pick one of them to do first. There are 3 of those projects that have exactly the same number of votes. Great work, guys. So in the next few days, I will be picking one of those 3 projects to get started on, and at some point in the next few weeks, couple of months, I'll bring you a vlog update of how I'm getting on with those random picked projects. I will also be posting on Instagram using the hashtag #randommal. So if you would like to pick a random pattern to work on, either one that you haven't started yet or one that is a work in progress that you'd like to get off the hook, off the needles, whatever, write a list of your works in progress. Use random number generator, use a dice, pull a name out of a hat. You do the same with patterns. Feel free to join in. There's no prizes, no end date, no official proper start date. Just, hey, look, I'm working on this. And we'll just put it under random mouse so that people can see it. I think that could be a bit of fun. It'd be nice to see what weird and wonderful creations people come up with using random selections. If you're starting something new, there are some weird and wonderful patterns out there that you can find. But yeah, it would probably be a very good way to get through your whip pile as well. So once I've done the sorting out, I may well take that approach with my whips and use some sort of random number generator or dice or spinning wheel or something to pick which one to work on. But yeah, so crochet random mal coming up in the next few days, weeks, months. There will at least be 2 to 3 projects made because 3 of them have exactly the same number of votes. Some of them have 0 votes, so I won't be working on those. Yeah, so that is my plans for moving forwards. So thank you for spending time with me today. I would love to see you in my next video, but in the meantime, there's this video here that may be of interest to you. And until next time, happy crafting and bye-bye for now.